Have you ever thought about what actually happens to your body when you travel after 70? Most people assume that as long as they feel fine, they are fine. But the truth is, traveling at this stage of life comes with risks that are easy to miss until you are already dealing with them. And some of these risks can affect your health, your safety, and even your finances in ways that are very hard to recover from. In this video, we are going to walk through 5 important reasons why traveling after 70 requires much more caution than most people realize. Whether you are planning a trip soon or just thinking about it, each point in this video will give you something real and useful to think about. And make sure you stay until the end, because the last point is one that most seniors never consider, yet it is one of the most common ways people end up losing money and peace of mind while traveling. Let us get started. The first and most important thing to understand is that after 70, the body does not respond to stress the way it used to. Traveling puts a lot of demand on the body, and for older adults, that demand can quickly become overwhelming. Conditions like heart disease, high blood pressure, and breathing problems do not disappear just because you are on vacation. In fact, travel can make them worse. When you are at home, help is close. Your doctor knows your history, the hospital is familiar, and if something goes wrong, you can get the right care quickly. But when you are traveling, especially in another country, all of that changes. A health issue that your regular doctor could handle in an afternoon can become a serious emergency simply because the right care is not nearby. Long flights are one of the biggest physical risks for seniors. Sitting still for many hours slows circulation and increases the risk of blood clots in the legs, a condition called deep vein thrombosis. If a clot travels to the lungs, it becomes life-threatening. High altitudes are another concern, especially for people with heart or lung conditions. And extreme heat or humidity, common in many popular travel destinations, can cause dehydration and heat exhaustion faster than most seniors expect. James was 74 years old when he and his wife booked a 2-week cruise. He felt healthy, he was looking forward to it, and he had no reason to think anything would go wrong. But on the 4th day, he developed severe chest pain. The ship had basic medical staff, but he needed a proper hospital. An emergency evacuation had to be arranged, and by the time he received full treatment, several hours had passed. He recovered, but the experience shook him deeply. He later said that he had never even considered this kind of risk before booking the trip. Insurance is another area where many seniors are caught off guard. A lot of people assume their regular health coverage travels with them, but in most cases it does not extend to foreign countries. Without proper travel insurance, hospital bills, emergency procedures, and medical evacuations can cost tens of thousands of dollars out of pocket. Some seniors return home with medical debt that takes years to clear. If you are over 70 and planning to travel, the most important first step is a conversation with your doctor. Get a full health checkup before you go. Make sure all your medications are packed in sufficient amounts. Research the health care available at your destination. And if you are traveling abroad, invest in comprehensive travel insurance that covers emergencies, hospital stays, and evacuations. These steps take a little time before the trip, but they can make an enormous difference if something goes wrong. Good health is the foundation of any enjoyable trip. But even if your health is stable, there is a second risk that many seniors overlook completely, and it starts the moment you walk into a crowded airport. Every time you travel, you come into contact with a much higher number of germs and bacteria than you would at home. Airports, airplanes, hotels, and public transport are all environments where illness spreads easily. For a younger person, picking up a cold or a stomach infection while traveling is usually a minor inconvenience. For someone over 70, the same illness can lead to serious complications, a hospital stay, or recovery that takes weeks. As we get older, the immune system becomes less efficient. It takes longer to identify threats and longer to fight them off. This is why older adults are more likely to develop complications from common illnesses that younger travelers handle without much trouble. Respiratory infections are a particular concern. On an airplane, passengers breathe recycled air for hours at a time, and people from many different parts of the world pass through the same spaces daily. Exposure to unfamiliar viruses is almost unavoidable. Food and water safety is another issue that deserves serious attention. Trying local food is one of the most enjoyable parts of traveling, but in many destinations, the hygiene standards and ingredients are very different from what your body is used to. Foodborne illnesses like Salmonella, E. coli, and norovirus can cause severe dehydration and digestive problems. For seniors, these conditions can escalate quickly without the right treatment available. Even surfaces that look clean can carry harmful bacteria. Tray tables, handrails, elevator buttons, and doorknobs are touched by hundreds of people every day. Seniors who use canes or walkers are at extra risk because they are in constant contact with public surfaces for support. The good news is that simple precautions can significantly reduce your risk. Washing your hands regularly, carrying hand sanitizer, wearing a mask in crowded spaces, drinking only bottled or filtered water, and eating at reputable restaurants with well-cooked food are all habits that can protect you. Before traveling internationally, check with your doctor about recommended vaccines. These small steps require very little effort, but they give your body a much better chance of staying healthy throughout the trip. Staying healthy while traveling is possible with the right preparation. But there is a third challenge that no amount of preparation can completely eliminate, and it is one that affects nearly every senior who travels. Traveling is physically demanding. And after 70, the body needs more time to recover from that demand than most people expect. Long flights, early departures, hours of walking, adjusting to new time zones, and constantly being in unfamiliar environments all create a level of fatigue that can be difficult to shake. Unlike in younger years, when a single good night of sleep was usually enough to reset the body, older adults often find that tiredness from travel lingers for days or even weeks. Sleep is one of the first things to suffer when you travel. Sleeping in a different bed, dealing with noise in an unfamiliar place, and crossing time zones can make it very hard to get proper rest. And poor sleep is not just about feeling tired the next morning. It weakens the immune system, reduces concentration, slows reaction time, and increases the risk of accidents and health problems. Research has consistently shown that seniors take longer than younger people to adjust to time zone changes, which means jet lag can steal several days from a trip before the body finally settles. Physical strain builds up quickly as well. Sitting for long periods on planes, buses, or trains causes stiff muscles, swollen joints, and poor circulation. For seniors with arthritis or existing joint problems, this discomfort can last long after the journey ends. And once you reach your destination, a full schedule of sightseeing, activities, and movement adds to the load that the body is already carrying. Richard was 75 when he and his wife planned a 2-week vacation overseas. He was in reasonable health and had traveled before, so he felt confident about the trip. But after a 10-hour flight and a 6-hour time difference, he was exhausted before the first full day had even begun. He struggled to enjoy the activities he had looked forward to for months. He needed frequent rest breaks, found it hard to concentrate, and spent much of the trip feeling like he was running on empty. By the time his body adjusted, it was nearly time to go home. He returned needing several more weeks of rest, just to feel normal again. If travel is something you are committed to, building recovery time into your schedule is essential. Plan rest days between activities. Choose shorter flights where possible. Stay hydrated throughout the journey. Pack healthy snacks. And be realistic about how much you can comfortably do each day. A slower pace is not a compromise. It is what allows you to actually enjoy the trip rather than simply survive it. Fatigue affects the body in many ways. And one of the ways it shows up most dangerously is in the area we are going to talk about next. Falls are a leading cause of serious injury among people over 70. And traveling creates exactly the kind of conditions where falls are most likely to happen. Unfamiliar environments, uneven surfaces, poor lighting, slippery floors, and a lack of accessibility features in many popular destinations all increase the risk. What looks beautiful in a travel photograph can be genuinely hazardous in person, especially for an older adult who is already tired from a long journey. As we age, balance naturally becomes less stable. Bone density decreases. Reaction times slow. A stumble that a younger person might recover from easily can result in a broken hip, a fractured wrist, or a head injury for someone over 70. And the consequences of those injuries are serious. A broken hip often requires surgery, followed by months of rehabilitation. In some cases, it permanently affects a person's ability to move independently. Linda was 78 years old and in good physical shape when she traveled to Italy. She walked regularly at home and had no concerns about managing the trip. But the steep, uneven streets of the city she was visiting were nothing like her familiar neighborhood. One evening, stepping off a curb in a dimly lit street, she lost her footing and fell. She broke her hip. She needed emergency surgery in a foreign hospital and had to return home before her trip was even halfway finished. Her recovery took months, and the experience left her far more cautious about travel than she had ever been before. Fatigue plays a major role in falls as well. When the body is tired, balance suffers and reactions slow, making a simple misstep far more likely. Combine exhaustion with unfamiliar terrain and the risk increases significantly. If travel is something you plan to continue, choosing accessible destinations matters. Wear supportive, well-fitting footwear. Consider using a walking stick for extra stability. Avoid exploring unfamiliar areas alone, particularly at night. And always be honest with yourself about your physical limits on any given day. The best trips are the ones you come home from safely. We have now covered 4 of the 5 dangers. And the last one is different from all the others. It does not involve hospitals or injuries. But for many seniors, it causes just as much damage. Most people think carefully about the physical risks of travel, but very few think about the financial ones. And yet, for seniors over 70, the financial risks of traveling can be just as serious as the health risks, and in some cases even harder to recover from. The most significant financial risk is medical care abroad. As we discussed earlier, standard health insurance typically does not cover treatment in foreign countries. But the actual cost of that treatment can be staggering. Emergency surgery abroad can run into tens of thousands of dollars. A medical evacuation, being transported by air to a proper hospital, can cost even more. Without comprehensive travel insurance in place before you leave, you or your family would be responsible for every dollar of that expense. Trip cancellations are another risk that many seniors do not plan for. Trips are often booked months in advance, and health can change unexpectedly in that time. If a medical situation forces you to cancel at short notice, most airlines, hotels, and cruise lines will not refund the full cost of the booking. Without trip cancellation insurance, losing thousands of dollars on a vacation you never took is a very real possibility. And then there are scams. Seniors traveling in unfamiliar places are frequently targeted by people who take advantage of those who are out of their usual environment. Fake taxi drivers, overpriced services, fraudulent tour operators, and online booking scams are all common in many tourist destinations. These schemes have become increasingly sophisticated, and it is easy to be caught off guard, especially in a place where you do not know the local norms. George was 76 years old and had always been careful with money. He researched his vacation thoroughly and booked what appeared to be a well-priced hotel through a website that looked completely legitimate. When he arrived at his destination, the hotel did not exist. The website had been a scam. His money was gone, and he had to find somewhere to stay at the last minute, paying far more than he had budgeted. He spent the rest of the trip stressed and shaken, not by the destination, but by what had happened before he even unpacked his bag. Protecting yourself financially is straightforward, but requires action before you travel. Always purchase travel insurance that covers medical emergencies, evacuations, and trip cancellations. Book only through well-known, reputable platforms. If a price seems unusually low, treat that as a warning sign rather than an opportunity. Use a credit card with fraud protection rather than carrying large amounts of cash. And be cautious about sharing any personal or financial information with strangers while you are away. Now, after everything covered in this video, the question worth asking is this: does all of this mean that seniors should never travel? The answer is no. But it does mean that travel after 70 requires a different approach than it did in earlier years. The 5 dangers we discussed today: sudden health emergencies, exposure to illness, travel fatigue, falls and injuries, and financial risk, are not meant to discourage you. They are meant to help you make better decisions. Because the seniors who travel well are the ones who take these risks seriously before they ever leave home. If travel is something you love, keep loving it. But plan smarter. Choose destinations that suit your current health and energy. Take shorter trips with plenty of rest built in. See your doctor before every journey. Get the right insurance in place. And always listen to what your body is telling you, because no destination in the world is worth sacrificing your health, your safety, or your peace of mind to reach. Thank you for watching today. If something in this video was useful to you, please leave a comment below and share what stood out most. Your feedback genuinely matters and helps us create content that is worth your time. If you have not subscribed yet, please do, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. We will see you in the next one.